Welcome to Left, Right, and You with Tim Elenz and Paul Edwards. They're talking current events, politics, local, state, and federal. Now here's Tim Elenz and Paul Edwards and Left, Right, and You.
Hello.
Hello. Testing.
Hello.
Is that you?
Hello.
Is this the person to whom I'm speaking?
No, this is not the person to which you are speaking.
Okay. What's going on?
Oh, man, you tell me.
How are you?
I'm great.
I was in the Italian village on Sunday.
Yeah?
And the guy, the maitre d', I thought he was Italian, and he said, "Oh, I'm Persian." I said, "You're from Iran." And he went, "Oh, my God, how did you know?" I said, "So what do you think about what's going on over there?" So I'll start the show with that.
What did he think about what was going on in
Nothing.
Iran?
He said he lives out in the country somewhere. He's like a country guy, so he doesn't really pay too much attention to politics. I always wondered if, like, you were one of these countries like Latvia or Estonia or Lithuania, and the country gets taken over. If you live out in the country, how do you know that it got taken over? You know, if you live like out in a village somewhere, how would you know? Even in Italy, if you live in Italy and you're up in the mountains somewhere in Scaldrone, and how would you even know that there's occupation going on? I don't know.
Yeah, it would take about a year before they get to you.
So you want to introduce our guest, or
Sure.
you going to let him talk about all this other stuff?
I'm not letting him talk about anything. Okay. I introduce him, then he can leave, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. We have with us today Bruno Bellissimo. Hopefully I said that properly.
Perfect.
Awesome. See, I watch.
He's good with names.
I watch way too much TV. So Bruno Bellissimo is running for the 45th ward, running for alderman in the 45th ward in Chicago, which the election I believe is next Tuesday, Wednesday. Which day is it?
Tuesday, the 22nd.
Tuesday the 22nd. So, I'm going to tell you that Tim is the expert on all things Chicago and Cook County. You should have seen the look on his face.
You see it on TV.
He just looked absolutely shocked. And
well, we grew up in the 45th ward.
We did.
So we are, prodigies of Tommy Lyons. We all wear Tommy Lyons shirts.
Well, but as a kid, as a young adult and teen, you were way more involved in it. I was busy doing other things that we will not discuss on the air.
We discussed it in the lunchroom.
Yeah, we could do that in the lunchroom. But you were really involved.
I was involved.
You got involved early.
Tom Lyons, and who was a committeeman for about 30-something years,
yeah,
maybe 40 years, right? And I wore one of his T-shirts. It said Tom Lyons, Democratic committeeman. Actually, I remember Ed Feifelsky. That's how back far I go. And Ed Feifelsky was the alderman, and then he got in some legal trouble, and he resigned. Nice man, very, very nice man. And then Dick Lewis took over. And then I got on the campaign of a guy named Jerry McLaughlin, who was a Chicago policeman. And he beat Cluis, and then he was alderman for 4 years. It was a Harold Washington days and all that stuff. I think it was 83, around that time.
Yeah. Right.
And then Pat LeVar came in. I think Pat LeVar's been alderman for 24 years, and he is now retiring. And Bruno is running, one of 7 candidates that's going to run. Did you say our phone number?
847-931-1410. And off the air,
that's okay, right?
Off the air, I am going to have to.
Up on
off the air though, I'm going to have to tell you about a time I decorated the Alderman McLaughlin's front lawn, but that's another story. I decorated.
I want to hear
his
about
lawn.
this.
Well, I'll tell you off the air.
You've piqued my interest too.
Yeah. So Dave wants to know. So we're gonna talk about. I mean, what we know. We both grew up. He grew up in Lawrence and Central. We missed Super Cup is closed now. And we were both part of the 45th Ward, and now there's 7 people that are running.
Right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, in the beginning, my parents were immigrants from Italy, and my mother came here through New York, and my father through Toronto. And I was born in 1968, May 10th, and my parents decided they would move us over to Skokie. I was born in Chicago, moved into Skokie. The area I lived in was actually surrounded by Edgebrook. There were 10 homes that were Skokie, so most of my friends and colleagues grew up, were Chicagoans. And went to school there in the suburbs, Niles West High School. And
Rashard Mendenhall fumbled that ball, by the way. It cost us. It let the Packers win. Yeah. Little Niles was. Go ahead, continue. Yeah. Or he's in Isles Norther, wasn't he?
I think it was North.
North, and you're West. Okay, then you hold no responsibility. My bad. Continue.
Yeah, I can't take responsibility for that.
Okay.
And grew up there in Skokie, and went to 3 different colleges. I went to Oakton Community College, received an associate's in business, and went to Columbia College. Actually studied sound engineering for about a year, and then ended up at Loyola University and finished my bachelor's degree in accounting. And in 1993, got a job with the city of Chicago as a tax auditor, and did that.
Oh, Chicago, okay.
Yeah, big city, So was a tax auditor for a while and moved around there at the Department of Revenue, did a few other things, and went on to city colleges of Chicago and did a lot of things through the education area, and did a lot of capital planning, development, and I do I'm an income tax preparer as well. And now I'm working for the Village of Harwood Heights in Illinois, right in between Chicago and Norridge.
And that's right. That borders the 45th Ward, does it? Or it's
right around the 41st Ward.
Okay.
It actually borders the 45th over where Elliott's used to be.
Sure. Is Elliott's gone?
Yeah, another institution.
Bunny's father owned that.
Really? Yes, I remember Bunny.
Yeah, fantastic corned beef there, and
which brings us back to the restaurant. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, but that's a sign of the times. You're seeing that all over the place, all over the ward, all over the city, and so that's my life story. And
all right, well, thanks for coming. Anyway, Tim.
No, my next question, a little more serious. I'll get.
You guys are great. I appreciate
it. A little busting here in a bit, but why do you want to be alderman of the 45th Ward? I mean, most obvious question.
You're obviously
good question. Good question.
That is a good question. I don't think anyone's asked me that yet. No, I'm just kidding. Well, my background and training have been in the government, municipal sector throughout my career, and I have a passion for the government sector, and I have a passion also for my community and for the ward. And I've been there for at least 11 years. We were, I think, at one point when I first got married, we were in the ward. I don't remember, they had some redistricting there, but I'm seeing a lot of things change, and we want to stay in that ward. And I believe I can make positive changes to the ward. And again, I have a passion for government and the public sector. That's it.
What's the biggest challenges? And just, if I may just put it in a minute, when we were kids, I was like, you lived in the Jefferson Park. That was like Saugatuck, Jefferson Park. That was the best areas to live in. And now you go there, and I hate to say it, but it looks terrible.
Yeah,
I go down across the street from the Copernicus Center. They still have that bike shop. That was the big controversy, and it's gloomy. I used to always joke about Terminal Liquors at Gale Street. Remember Sir George and James when it was there? And it just was, there was always like a cloud over there, Pasquale's Pizza.
Mm-hmm.
But now it seems like there's a big cloud over that whole JP, that whole Jefferson Park terminal. It seems terminal over there, actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you've definitely.
What's happened? Yeah.
Well, we're obviously, there's a sign of the times. We have 3 major pockets in the ward, and Jefferson Park being one of the larger ones. It's a sign of the times, and it's also a sign of lack of working with the businesses and the residents and trying to keep that area up. Jefferson Park alone, you're looking at 5,000 riders a day run through Jefferson Park Terminal.
It's huge.
And we need to revisit that and take advantage of that ridership and redevelop that area. And I'm looking at that area as it's the mecca of our ward. It is literally almost the center of our ward. And then we need to branch out from there. We need to take advantage of that. And there's different ways of approaching it through economic development plans. And I have a small plan I would like to put in place, and not a small plan, but an extensive plan. But we need advisors and other people that can help us with that. We've got a great ward, a fantastic communities, and a lot of people that want to stay there. And so,
what do you think businesses have left? Has there been a statistic of how many businesses have left over the last 5 or 10 years? I know Butler Bowl's still over there. I noticed that the other day.
It is good to see it. And several years ago they did that renovation over there, and it's a great bowling alley. Statistically, I can tell you we're at about a 40% plus vacancy rate on the business front.
Really?
Throughout the world.
For the last 10 years or 5 years?
No, I don't know how long, but it's
wow.
I wouldn't say the last 10 years, probably since the economy has dipped. 2007, 8, 9, and so reasoning. Again, if you look at where we're at geographically, we're close to the suburbs. And I think part of that reason is because we are close to the suburbs, and we have to have some incentives for businesses to come in over on the northwest side, and we have to the licensing and zoning process is so convoluted that a business doesn't want to start. They don't want to come in because why do you want to spend the time and energy doing that when you can go somewhere else where there's a mall and parking and they're welcoming you to come into their community, and again, we're hopefully going to have to change. No matter who gets elected, it's going to change.
Well, let me just ask because I think Bruno brought something up. Bruno, I'm a small business owner. I employ 50 people. I'm not really planning on moving my business, but it's an office sort of setting that I've got my people in. What would you propose to, like, let's say I came to you and I said, hey, I'm thinking about moving my office there. My people, my employees, they're going to come, they're going to shop in the area, they're going to do this in the area. What incentives could you do or are you proposing to attract, say, a business like mine that might consider moving?
Mm-hmm. Well, with the number of employees you have, one of the things I want to look at is and they have looked at it, was a head tax reduction. The city has a head tax for a certain number of employees if you have more than a certain number of employees, and also other tax incentives for the businesses. And each pocket of our ward, what I want to do is create a marketing plan for that ward, and I want to come to you and attract your business to come and locate into our ward. I mean, maybe your business might work better in Gladstone Park than it would in Portage Park or in Jefferson Park, depending on the type of business. So we're going to have this plan in place, and we're going to work on marketing strategies for each area. Other ways to attract, infrastructure. We do have a pretty good infrastructure, and they're still building it. I mean, you want to go a place where you have good running water. I mean, I'm sure you might be able to find rent somewhere, and you find that the water is not suitable for drinking, or and just infrastructure in general. Closer by us, the advantage is you've got the highways and the train and the metro, CTA. You're close to the airport. You can't get any better than the 45th Ward if you want to put a business in there. You're close to everything, and you don't have the dense traffic that you would be downtown. And I think we're going to move in the right direction in the next few years.
Well, I guess, if I may, what can you do as an alderman? I mean, coming off of the autocratic rule of the mayor, the current mayor, who has pretty much had a steel fist. And I don't want to get into the current alderman as much, but what can you do as an alderman to attract business? I mean, the city says, hey, there's a head tax. Hey, there's this, that, and the other thing. What can an alderman do to attract business? You can't give. Can you give tips? Can you approve tips for businesses?
Yes.
Tax incentive financing.
Yeah, there's a small business SBIF, and there's also TIFs. We could work with the TIF funds, and also the SPIF. It is difficult, but I think it boils down to the marketing plan, and also, whoever gets elected, as far as the mayor is concerned, I'm going to have to work with the mayor and have the mayor, on our side, on the 45th Ward side, to attract the businesses to come in, and we need the buy-in from the mayor as well as other city council members, especially if we have to vote on initiatives. So it is going to be an uphill battle. There's no doubt, but if you look at the areas in the city that really need the most attention, and the 45th Ward is definitely one of those areas, and I can't imagine that any official getting elected is not going to see that. And I think now with the press that we're getting, all the media and more residents are out there, and they're aware of these issues, and they're demanding of those issues. So I don't think we're going to have any problem getting the things we need for our ward through the new mayor.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the new mayor? Well, I don't know if that's a fair question. We've had this conversation before. I think the new mayor is going to be, up to their ears and alligators.
Yes.
And that it should be the big thing. We talked before, and Paul had asked me what I thought. I think Rahm Emanuel is the only hope from all the candidates that are running right now to make hard decisions. There are going to have to be some layoffs, and there's going to be some services that are going to be cut. There's going to be some huge budget cuts.
But for pure entertainment value, could you beat a Carol Mosley Braun? for just pure entertainment value. Really, she's entertaining as all get out.
And she's her own worst enemy, isn't she?
Well, what's she going to do under the pressure? If she did become mayor, with the pressure would be.
She just accused everyone of being on crack.
Yeah.
No, and she'd be half right.
No,
I mean, Mayor Daley loses his mind. What is she going to? She's not even the mayor yet, and look how she's. I don't know if you want to comment about that.
I definitely want to refrain from any comments on the mayoral candidates at this point. I'm certainly enjoying your conversation, so you can keep on. That's
we like that, and his daughter's friends with that other lady,
Patricia Watkins Van Pelt. Or Van Pelt Watkins.
She never saw crack piping.
She was like the first. She was like the first candidate to do a commercial. I remember her on election night.
Who's that?
Patricia Watkins. Yeah, had her commercial during the election returns in November.
Yeah, and did you happen to get a chance to go on to ChicagoClout.com and see my daughter's interview?
Good interview.
With her?
I did not.
If you get a chance, check it out. ChicagoClout.com.
By the way, Jeff is online.
My daughter Tammy did an interview with her. It was quite good.
We have to
tell me
take
if you
Jeff's
want.
call, so we always take calls. We could talk to Jeff. Hi,
All
Jeff.
right.
What do you guys got? ESP or what?
Yeah, we didn't know you were going to call this week. We thought you were on vacation.
Well, I could be if you wanted me to.
No, that's all right. What's up? What do you want to talk about? We're talking about jobs.
No,
do you know anything about that?
Tell me about it. Actually, things are starting to pick up a little bit, which is probably a good sign, but who knows? For how long?
Well, where do you live?
Well, thank goodness Barack Obama's policies are finally saving us.
Yeah, right.
Your hand hurt? What's the matter with your hand?
I'll give you. I got a condo in Florida. I'll give you.
So where do you live, Jeff? Do you live in Elgin?
No, well, right on the outskirts. So.
What city do you live in?
Do I dare say Geneva?
Well, that's a nice city.
Well,
that's nice. They got rats. They're nice.
Geneva's very nice.
Yeah. So you have a question for Bruno? He's running as an alderman of the 50th ward or the 45th ward. There's 50 aldermen in Chicago.
Well, here's the thing. I hope that Bruno, I hope you do what you talk about. I hope you stay true to your form and down at the bottom with us little guys here. Because what happens, it seems like every time somebody gets in office, all of a sudden they lose, they forget where they're at, where they came from.
Yep.
And that's what I don't want to happen. And it's a sad fact, but it happens because nobody is willing to get a backbone and do something. Now, I know you guys were talking just a minute ago about, Emmanuel having to make some serious cuts, and I think that's the problem with this whole state. Nobody wants to take that chance because, for one,
no one who was elected wants to take, and it's not take the chance. They just don't want to do it. But continue. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Jeff.
No, you're fine. It's just committing suicide, political suicide in their part. But forget it, damn with the suicide stuff. Somebody with some brain needs to come in and just clean house. Unfortunately, that's never going to happen in the state. I've been out here for 25 years.
I guess you just got to get a real girthy governor like Chris Christie, so when he falls on the sword, the blade breaks and the job gets done.
Yeah.
Well, what about Tony Periwinkle? I mean, she's made some major cuts, and
she stuck to her word on that. She's made some cuts. Yeah.
We're going to have Commissioner Tim Schneider and Commissioner Robert Steele talk about yin and yang. I mean, two different sides of the spectrum, and they really like each other. Republican from the suburbs, and Robert Steele, who is from the city, and he represents downtown, which is going to be really interesting because he's got to work with the big high-rises and the corporates. And they're going to talk about this after February 22nd. They have agreed to come on together. And,
I hope that they can get on. That's the key, getting along with each other and just making the right decisions. I mean, you're not going to. We talk about it all the time. We're not going to please everybody. It's just.
Okay.
I just see the little guys at the bottom getting run over constantly, and enough. And we're all saying enough is enough. And I'm speaking not just for myself. I'm speaking for all the people I know and all the neighbors. I mean, I was just talking to another guy today. 3 people in the last 2 weeks I've known to get laid off because their jobs in this state are going out of state.
Right,
now,
right.
I don't care, who it is. Something's wrong here. And I'm talking about. I know there's another guy that has another show on on another show that always whines to me about how I'm always talking I don't have a job or something. Well, hey, I'm a little guy. And I'm the one that wants to put people like them to work. But because I don't have the money, because nobody is willing to help me, I can't grow my business to hire other people, and it's just unfair. I'm paying for other people's kids to go to school. I mean, the whole gamut, you know that. You've heard me say this over and over again. I just don't understand it, and it's not America.
So Jeff, let me ask you this. We have Bruno Bellissimo, who's running for alderman in the 45th ward in Chicago. If you hypothetically, let's say you lived in the 45th ward and you were to vote for Bruno, what would be the one thing you would want him to do for your ward? Answer that briefly, and then why don't we just listen for his answer?
Well, I hope he basically cleans house. But I want, most of all, jobs. I want people to at least get some kind of training going to make people, to get them going, to maybe help the small business. It's the tax situation. Maybe work with some of the companies trying to get, some kind of TIF districts going. Something's got to happen to promote business within the. That's where I'd start working. You start promoting business within the town that you're in or the city. Maybe somehow you'll get. That's the key.
All right, Jeff. Thank you very much for your call, Jeff.
Thanks,
Look
Jeff.
forward to talking to you later. So, Bruno, you hear from this common guy right now, and he says to you, jobs are most important. If you're my elected official, the one closest to me, my alderman, what can you do to help get jobs into our community? What would you do? What would you say the things that you could do to get jobs going in your community the quickest?
Okay, there are a few ways of doing that. One way we're looking at is when we start doing more construction projects and city construction projects in our ward, I will make sure that a percentage of those construction workers and workers within the companies around them, working with them, are residents of our ward, of the 45th ward. I will demand that happens. That is an absolute must. We want the people of our ward to build their ward together with us and with my under our direction. That's the first and foremost. Second thing, my ward office is going to be available all the time. I'm a little guy too. I was there. I was out of work as well. So I've been there and I know what it is. I'm not gonna lose sight of the roots of our community. A lot of our community are first generation. They're immigrants that have just come over here. We have a major demographic change in the last 10 years, so I'm completely aware of the job situation. We're going to do whatever we can to help them, whether it's helping with resumes or workshops or anything. But, that's first and foremost is when we start doing those construction jobs.
Okay, so just real quick. So you're saying I live in your ward and I see a city type of job going on. I can be assured that a percentage of the people working on that job or who are subcontracted are definitely going to be from a business located or employing people in my district.
Yeah, either business or a resident of our ward.
Okay.
I will demand that happens.
I think that's a good thing.
I have a question. I saw an article in the Daily Herald regarding Home Depot. They had 2,000 jobs in the suburban market. If you're elected alderman, what would you do regarding the big box stores, whether it's a Walmart, Target, Home Depot, adding jobs to the community? What's your view on that?
I definitely support big box retailers. We need an anchor store in our ward, and maybe more than one because we have different pockets there that require different things for the community. So whether it's a Home Depot, Walmart, or Target, I support that. I support them coming in, and I will work with them.
Because the cities have not, the other aldermen have not been as supportive with that.
Correct. So. A lot of them haven't, and a lot of it has to do with the union issue. Also the living wage ordinance as well, or it's not there yet, but they're talking about the living wage ordinance but we need jobs. We need to bring them in, and we need to put those other differences aside. I mean, these people in this community, they are hurting like everybody else, and we need to bring in an anchor, and it has to happen in our ward. I mean, and there is room. There is plenty of room in our ward for that. So.
That's it. I was going to ask a real quick question about, I don't know how much time we got before break, but what do you think about the police superintendent? Would you... Jody Weiss? Because they're talking about taking policemen out of Jefferson Park. That's one of the plans, is to We get like I don't know, was it like 3 policemen per mile or something? And
You're going to take crime out of there too?
They're going to take. Well, I don't know if the crime goes with them. But what do you think of the police superintendent? That's a fair question.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that don't like what he's doing. I think when you're in a position like that, in any appointed position or even an elected official, you're loved and hated no matter what you do. And from a standpoint of I'm not going to be the person that has to remove him. It will be the next mayor. So,
but if you're alderman, you have to approve the new one, right?
Yes, I would. And I think we're due for a change at this point. But that's all I could say about him. And as far as public safety in our ward, we already have police officers getting reallocated to other districts. 16th district, we cover 16th and 17th, part of the 17th district. And it's one of the largest districts in.
Yeah, I think it is the largest.
It's the largest in the city, and yet we have it's less than 300 officers in the street. It's not enough. We need police presence because crime is on the rise. Where are these gangbangers going? They're going to go where there's no police presence. I mean, it's obvious. So I will make sure that we have enough police presence, and I will be at those meetings to make sure we get more police officers allocated to our ward.
We got to go to a break. We're going to go to a break and come right back.
We'll be right back then.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.